Okay, all right, I have the recording on now. So the first thing I want to do is share a couple of links with you. So I'm going to copy and paste these right quick. The first one, I'll share them over here in the chat box. The first one is the link to a PowerPoint that I'll be showing. That. And then the second one is just a little information sheet. And then I'll also put over here in the chat just the information that parents are going to need to log in. So there we go. So the information that shows, hopefully that'll show on the recording too, the information that parents need to have access to be able to log in. So now I am going to share what's on my screen so that we can go through all the presentation. Okay. So now you should see what I see on my screen, and I'm going to put up the ClassPass presentation. So in case you don't know, ClassPass is a partnership that Atlanta Public Schools has with the Fulton County Public Library system, and it allows all of the students to access materials in the public library system using their Atlanta Public Schools information. The great thing about this is it really expands what's available to the kids. As I tell my kids at Inman when I'm training them to look around the room and see the books we have there, we have about probably 10,000 books there, but the Fulton County Public Library system has multiple branches that each have more books than that. So it not only expands our collection digitally, but it expands the print materials that our students have access to. And the nice thing is that when you're going through this program, when you're using your program, the ID stuff here to log in, there are no late fees or anything for students when they check out books. So it's really kind of great. There are two ways to get to the program. You can either go directly through the website, which is this link here on the slide, or you can go through my backpack. So I will show you, this is my backpack, and there's an icon here. Mine are alphabetized. Sometimes kids don't alphabetize theirs and you have to hunt around in it. But the icon looks like this here, the AFPLS ClassPass. So you can go there, and if you click on that link, it takes you to a page that looks like this. And if you type in the link that's here in the PowerPoint, it also takes you to this page. So this is what I call the landing page. And so the landing page is where you go in to access any kind of materials through the ClassPass program. So the first thing I will show you, even though it's not quite as applicable now because the libraries themselves are not open, I do want to show you how to get in and get books from the libraries themselves. So if you're like me and you prefer to have a print copy of a book to read rather than reading it on a device, this is how you can get those materials. But you can also check out audiobooks and ebooks this way too, through the library system itself. So when you are on the landing page, here in this green bar in the top, it says books and materials. And if you click on my account, it'll take you to a page that looks like this, and you'll see my information's already auto-populating here. But when you get to that page, you will use your child's student ID as their library card number. So I went through this with my son, and that, like I said, that's my number, but your child will have a number that'll probably look something like this. This is not my child's number, but it'll look something like that. So it begins with 2 and has 7 digits. You can find this if you don't know where to look. You can actually find this if you log into Infinite Campus to the parent portal, like to check, you're going to check grades. Your child's number will be in there. Now, your child will for sure know these 4 numbers because they use them all the time, and we're going to use them some too. But you would log in with your child's student ID as their card number, and then their regular APS password will be their PIN. It's their lunch number. Your kid will know this number. So this is the one place where you use the full, or one of the few places where you use that full student ID number. So I'm going to show you what happens when you log in, just so you can see what the system looks like. So I'm now logged in. It took me directly to my account, which does not actually have my home address. It has the school address. But when you log in with your kid, or the administration address, actually, when you log in with your kid, you will see that your home address is here because they've linked the systems together. They've shared information. And so this is a page that you'll come to. This is the account page. And when you're in here, you'll be able to see what's checked out. You can see anything that's on hold. You can see any fines, which there shouldn't be any fines again because they're not paying any. But so to show you how this works, if you're going to search, I've been using Jason Reynolds because our 6th graders went to see a play that was made from one of his books. And so this is an author a lot of kids are familiar with. So if I come in and I search for Jason Reynolds, it's going to pull up everything in every library. You can see there are 66 results found for Jason Reynolds. If you notice, you can look at format. So right here, this book, this is a download. It's an ebook. It looks like the first few are ebooks. Here's one that's got little headphones and the symbol. So that's an audio book. But if I want to find books, I'll just come over here to format. I'll click book and include. And I can find the book that I want. And the thing for you to know, when you're going through this, you'll always, the kids, unless they're getting an ebook or an audiobook, which they can immediately download, they would place a hold on the book, and you'll be able to pick the branch that's closest to you to pick up the hold. With APS email, though, a lot of times the kids are not going to get an email because the way our system is set up, the email isn't fully functional. And they do have an APS email account. It just doesn't really work. It's used for things like this, but they won't get emails at it for the most part. But you will be able to monitor whether the book is in and ready to pick up by watching, checking in periodically on this holds page. So this is just a little bit to show you how to use the actual library system. So just like you would if you were checking out a book for yourself. So you can search for books, you can search for audiobooks, ebooks, you can place a hold, you can pick up at the library of your choice. So all this is pretty standard, but it does give kids access to the collection. Once we're back and have open libraries, you can get, actual books from anywhere. But particularly while we're out, online materials is the big thing. And so I want to show you how to access all the various online materials. I'm going to come back here to the landing page. All right, so I'm back on the main page. And you'll note when I scroll down here, there are 4 buttons down here: elementary, middle, high school, and employees. So we'll want to click on elementary school. And when we do that, you come to a very similar looking page, except that now there are icons for several different applications that you'll have access to. Now, one handy thing for you to note is that if the icons are all in a row together, they have the same login information. So Hoopla, Learning Express, Mango Languages, Tutor.com, they're all the same login. Overdrive and Access 360 have the same login. So if they're grouped together, the same login. So I want to show you about the benefits of some of these, and I'm going to start with Overdrive. So Overdrive has ebooks and audiobooks, and I put the login information here on the slide, and you'll have access to this if you go to that link. But so your student will know this. The way you log into this, they will know this because this login information is how they get into My Backpack. So if they're using My Backpack at school, which they do every day, they will know how to log into that. So when you log in, you will see a button over here that instead of saying My Account, I'm already signed up, it'll say log in or sign up. So you'll click on the orange button that's here, and it will ask you for the login information. And you will use the first letter of the first name, the first 7 letters of the last name, or if the whole name, like mine, is short, you'll use the whole name, and then the final 4 digits of that student ID number. So mine would be SNIL1199. So like I said, your kids will know this number because they use it all the time. If you go in here to log in and you can't figure it out, you just ask your kid, hey, how do you log into My Backpack? And they will be able to give you the information that you need. And then the PIN is their lunch number. So it's exactly like they're logging into My Backpack. It is exactly the same login. All right, so this is Overdrive. Overdrive is ebooks and audiobooks. I want to show you a couple of cool things about it and tell you about a few limitations for it. So you'll notice that up here at the top, some of the books are orange because they're immediately available, and some say wait list. So Overdrive, the electronic books that are in here, function just like print books, which means if the library has one electronic copy of the book, one patron can have it checked out at a time. The kids at Inman always want to know why this is, and the short answer is money. It's all about licensing and getting paid for copies of books. There's a big dispute in the industry on this right now, but this is how it is with most of the programs. So you could sign up, wait for a book to come in, or you could open a book and start reading it right away. So it's pretty simple. You can do this on any device. You don't have to be on a school-issued device to get to this. You could do it on a desktop. Your kid could be on a tablet. They could be on a phone. They could be on a little Chromebook. Whatever it is they're using, they'll be able to open the books or pull up an audiobook and read them. But the cool features I want to show you, if you come under My Account and you click on Settings, when you come down, you can set your default borrowing period. So that just means like mine's on 21 days and 14 days for ebooks and audiobooks. So at the end of that time, it'll disappear. I can recheck it if I want to, but check it out again, but it'll automatically disappear from my account after that period of time. You can set the audience preference, but I really like these 2 features at the bottom. The high contrast, maybe you're reading at night, or you have vision issues that would make this sort of view more appropriate. So you can do that. And you can also switch everything to dyslexic font, which I think is great. So this is the dyslexic font, which you'll notice it looks kind of weighted to me, like the bottom of the letters are a little heavier looking. But you could put everything in a dyslexic font. So if your child has dyslexia, this is a great way for them to read books. In addition, having the audiobooks is great for kids who have dyslexia because they can either just listen to the book, which has all the same benefits as reading, or they could listen to the book while they're reading the paper copy. So I really like for folks to be aware that Overdrive has those 2 features because I do think that it's something that's really helpful. All right, I'm going to pop over to the Meet, just make sure I'm not being asked any questions in the chat. Okay, cool. All right, so back over to my slides here. So that's Overdrive. The next one I want to show you is Access 360. So you'll notice that it is right next to Overdrive. So it has the same login information. You'll log in with the same information that your student uses when they're logging in to into My Backpack. So that student ID, that's their first initial, last name, 4 numbers, and then their lunch number. So they would come in, and when you come into Access 360, it looks a lot like Overdrive. The thing that you'll notice is that a lot of the kids notice that the first thing they notice often is that a lot of these are our reading bowl books. So Parker Inheritance, Front Desk, Mullen Bound, Mason Buttle, all these up here at the top, Clayton Bird. These are reading bowl books. So for kids doing reading bowl, this is a great way for them to access reading bowl books without having to have a physical copy. Maybe if they're trying to read them over the summer, or if the copy of the book they want to read is checked out. And so this collection is curated for Atlanta Public Schools. So there are fewer books here than there are in Overdrive or in the library catalog itself or in Hoopla, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, but these are ones specifically related to the school. So not only are the reading bowl books here, but there will be books in here that are tied into the curriculum, to what kids are learning at school, that are tied into the standards for school. So like for I noticed when I was doing this with my middle schoolers, one of the books that showed up on the middle school screen when you logged in was To Kill a Mockingbird, which the 8th graders are just finishing up a big unit on. So books like that will be in here. If it's tied into the curriculum, this is a great place to come and look for it. So again, you'll log in just like Overdrive to use Access 360. All right. So I'm going to show y'all Hoopla, and I will tell you when I'm doing Hoopla training, and when I'm doing this training with the kids, I do Hoopla last because it's a pretty cool resource and the kids often get excited about it. So come to Hoopla. And the thing about Hoopla is that it has more than books, and I don't know why my screen is going quiet here. Let's try again. Hoopla doesn't like me today. Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Hoopla. All right, so Hoopla, even though it's not, I can just get it to stop. So Hoopla has ebooks, Hoopla has audiobooks, Hoopla has movies, it has music, it has TV shows, it has comics. I learned that I needed to present this last to the students because when I did this training and used my daughter as the guinea pig for it, she immediately realized that her favorite band was on there and we were done. Like, she didn't want to talk about anything else. So Hoopla also has the benefit of being able to check out a book even if someone else is reading it. So they have worked out some relationship with publishers that, unlike Overdrive and Access 360, where you saw that books had to be requested if they were not immediately available, more than one person can access materials through Hoopla at one time. So that's kind of nice. They also have read-alongs with some of the chapter books. So again, if you have a kid who's struggling with reading due to dyslexia or some other learning difference, and they like to have the audio of the book with them, a lot of the books have an option that you can open up the book and you can have the book read to the students. You can also change the font size and color. I don't think that Hoopla lets you put everything in dyslexic font like Overdrive does, but you can change the font. You can make it bigger, and blue font is supposed to be easier for individuals with dyslexia to read. So you can change the font to be blue and make it bigger if that helps your young reader. Let's see if we can get back into Hoopla here again. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try the middle school one because it all looks the same. We'll see if I can get into it if I go in through the middle school account. Maybe? No. All right. So I can't show you the cool thing, but Hoopla, once you get in, do a few searches in there and kind of see. With my middle school students, I always show them how if you search for the Beatles, you'll get comic books about the Beatles, you'll get music, you'll get derivative works like other things that people have done, Beatles as inspiration, you get movies about the Beatles. But Hoopla has a little more complicated login. So when you first get in there, it will prompt you to register for an account. And the first screen will ask you to choose an email and a password. And I encourage you for your kids to use your own email, or if they're a little bit older, like I have a fourth grader, we have actually set him up with his own personal email. I recommend using that just because that way, if you're getting notifications, the kids are going to actually get them. So any notifications you would get through the account would go to that email, but it doesn't really matter. If you can use an APS email if you want to, if your child knows their APS email account. Those are not actually typically structured for children to be able to use them to send and receive email. I think that restriction has been lifted temporarily while we're out for the COVID-19 break, but that's not typically the case. But you'll pick an email, you'll pick your password, and then when you go to the next screen, the next thing the system will ask you to do is to pick your library system. And so you'll select Fulton Library. It should be the first one there. If not, type in 30306 and Fulton, Georgia system will be the one that pops up. You'll select that. And then the next thing you'll do is enter the library card. It'll prompt you for a library card, and you'll enter your student's username. So again, it's that first initial, last name, and then the 4 numbers that they're used to using with their My Backpack login. Okay, let's see if I can show you this next resource here. We'll come back to ClassPass, the landing page, come back to elementary school. And I realized I think I left a slide out of this, so I will edit. Oh no, I just haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, so I wanted to show you the Just for Kids. I just skipped ahead. I did these in a little different order. So Just for Kids is a video access. If you're in the elementary, for some reason, it asks you to search rather than just taking you to an app. So the middle school one, you could try using the middle school shortcut. I'll show you how it looks different. The middle school kids, when they come here, there's this extra little icon right here that you can click on. But for some reason, the elementary just has this with the search box. So let's say we're just going to search something to get in. We'll search Daniel Tiger. And when you come in, here's a bunch of Daniel Tiger videos. Now, if you click over here, this takes you back to the main menu, which I don't know why this little thing is missing from the elementary page, why this little prompt here. But if you were to, when you click on that, it takes you to this page. So you can see there's a lot of videos in here that are great for kids. Most of them are educational in nature. They have Wildcrats, which my kids love. Actually, I have a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old who still love Wildcrats. Reading Rainbows in here, Dr. Seuss, Sesame Street. There are some things for older kids. There's some homework help and some shows for older kids. Although I would say by older kids, they probably mean the 10 to 12, not really the teenage crowd. But this is great. I tell my middle schoolers that this is great if they're babysitting or if they have younger siblings that they're trying to entertain. Just an option for you if you're looking for something for the kids to watch. So just to make you aware that the Just for Kids access video is there. And I did put a little tip to use the middle school tab to access if you want to not have to do a search to get in to the program. All right, so there are also some great, what I think of as nonfiction resources for kids through ClassPass. So I'm going to come back over here to the elementary school page. Close out Hoopla. So there are a number of resources that I think of as the nonfiction resources. You're not going into necessarily to get ebooks. And I just want to show you right quick some of these. Mango Languages is up here with Hoopla. So it has the same sort of login structure as Hoopla does, but it is a lot like Duolingo, for those of y'all who are familiar. So you could come in here and you could practice Spanish, or you could practice, they do Latin once you get into middle school, but Spanish would be the big thing. So you could come in here and do a little Spanish learning. There are other languages too. I had it on Spanish just because that's what we do at Maryland. So Mango Languages is a nice little helpful app that you can access through ClassPass. Let me get back to our ClassPass landing page in elementary school. Another that is helpful is the Animal Life Encyclopedia. So when you use this, it is exactly what it sounds like. It is an online animal encyclopedia. So take a quick look. The child will use that username that they're used to using, and you come in and you have a table of contents here. And so you could search, you could pull up an animal that you're curious about, or you could go through the different families. So this is great for science research, but just to show you that really quickly. Workbook is a new resource. It was just added. It has a little bit more of a complicated login, so I put up the instructions on here. Sorry. So this really, literally was just added last week, I think, week before last. So relatively new, but it is the Workbook Encyclopedia online. You can see the little link for it down here. If you scroll down, all of the login information is here as well. I haven't actually even logged into it yet, so let's see what happens if I try to log in. Okay, so you have to put Workbook in front of your username. I'm a teacher, so I don't know if mine is a teacher account, so I don't know if mine's set up a little bit differently, but no, okay. I think I have to do something different because I'm a teacher accessing it. But you'll put in your child's name like it is written here, and then you will be able to access and search it. It has a table of contents and all, just like the paper copy does. So that's Workbook. So just one more quick look here to show you ClassPass. So this is the elementary school ClassPass. Like I said, reminder, everything that's next to each other has the same login. Tutor.com I don't cover just because we already have access to that through APS, and kids can actually get to it through their or to a tutoring service that we independently have, and I think kids can access that in my backpack. And Learning Express Library I have not used yet, so that's why I don't train on it. But it is more ebooks, basically. So if you have any questions about any of this, please feel free. I'll look at the chat and see if you'll have any questions before we get off here, or if you want to take your mic off and ask a question, that's cool too. But this is my contact information. This is my APS email. I do check it pretty frequently. You can find me on Facebook. If you know me on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and you're welcome to follow me on Instagram and ask me questions there. I can Skype with folks. I'm on Twitter. I will tell you that I don't check Twitter as much. These probably are in order of your best bet for reaching me. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute here and pop over and see if anybody has questions. All right. Okay, good to know that your hoopla was acting up too, Desiree. I think there must just be something going on with the website right now. But certainly, if as y'all are going through and trying to access this stuff, if you have questions about it, if you can't get into something, you can email me and we can hop on and do a Google Meet and walk through and get you on it. So we'll make sure that everybody's able to access it. But I think this is a great resource. I mean, it like I said, it really does expand what the kids have access to, which is, and because so much of it is online, it's a particularly great resource for the rest of this school year. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.
No, this was all really clear. Thank you so much for doing it. I had no idea that they could log into Fulton using their